Hey, Dr. Angela Mulrooney here. I'd like to welcome you back to another series of Ask the Experts. We have the lovely Lori Cox here today from Red Dragon Marketing, and she has been in the online website field for over a decade, and she's had Red Dragon Marketing since 2010, so she knows her stuff. So Lori today is going to tell us a bit about how to compete on the internet.
Yes, Angela. So as you know, there's a lot of information on the internet, and over 85% of people searching for healthcare products and services are searching online. So that's really important to be able to be found online. And then from there, it's how do you compete amongst your competitors? And first of all, being, of course, found is important. And then from there, it's being important what you say and how you present yourself.
Okay, so let's go through that stuff. So first off, we need to get found, which means we have to have a website, right? You can't be hiding and going against the grain anymore with that because people are mostly looking on the internet, right? Now, a lot of people are looking on their phones as well. So how do we make our website more friendly between sitting at a desktop, which maybe our older clientele are doing that, versus our young ones who are just constantly on their phone?
Absolutely. I mean, being accessible online is important. So being found, so having a web presence, and then, making sure that that is mobile friendly and easy for people to click to call, because over 55% of web searches are happening on smartphones. So people just want it to be easy. We're all inundated with a lot of information. So being able to just click to call or send an email or fill out a form right there is important.
Right. So make those buttons visible instead of hiding them in the little hamburger menu at the side, right?
Yes.
So that's one thing, is having a website, making it easy. Now, how do you help yourself to be found when someone's doing a Google search, when you've got maybe 1,000 dentists that you're competing against when someone looks up dentist in their area?
Oh, yes. And especially in really, highly populated demographic areas. So it takes a while to establish presence and improve your searchability. So getting started as soon as possible is the first step.
Right.
And then, of course, linking with, associations in the industry and getting reviews is also a great way to improve your searchability and actually be found in, let's say the first or second page of search results, because once you're past page 2, it's pretty hard to be seen.
Yeah. So if you're new on the internet and starting to build your presence, is it possible to get on the first and second page when people have been around for much longer?
No, I will say no. I mean, and only because it is, it's possible in a very finite, opportunity there, but for the most part, it's going to take time. So that's why, again, getting started sooner is a good idea.
Right. Are there things that you can be doing to try and boost yourself on the search findings?
Oh, absolutely. So, linking to relevant industry associations, getting reviews through social media, and having basically links that will, when people click, will go to your website, are going to help Google to, in essence, say that your website is credible and should, deserves to be raised in the rankings online. So that's an important part of it, as well as just time. It just takes time.
And what about social media? Does that help with your rankings at all?
Absolutely. I mean, if people are going to Facebook or one of the other social media channels and, viewing your information, your content, which actually oftentimes Facebook can show up before your actual web presence. So, but if they click to go to your website, then your website will slowly improve in rankings.
Okay. Now, with social media as well, like what can you be doing with that to help yourself?
Yes, well, it's, social media is exactly that. And of course, different demographics on different platforms. So, Facebook being a bit of an older demographic, whereas Instagram is a younger. It's a challenge with pictures on Instagram and healthcare. So you have to be careful with that. But really just, having a dedicated plan to making sure that you're engaging with people, sharing relevant information and the message that's going to resonate with them in terms of like what the experience is going to be like when they come to see you and things like that.
With social media, how often should you be posting?
It's a good question because it can be different for everyone, but generally the rule of thumb is less is more. Especially with Facebook's algorithm changes. You're not going to reach as many people, but the posts that you do make, if they're really impactful, are going to actually have far more worth than posting, let's say, 10 times in a week. So posting 3 to 5 times a week is actually more ideal than more.
Okay. Yeah, it used to be like you need to post 3 times a day, which is really annoying. I didn't like that very much. Great. So we've got the website, we've been found, they've landed on our page. How do we make it enticing for them to want to pick up the phone or send us an email and get in touch to actually start booking with us?
Yeah, and that is so important because we're, again, all inundated with a lot of information. So, making it easy is the first step. Yeah. So, beautiful colors, of course, great, and impactful images, but making it easy is actually more important than anything else. Okay. So that, as you say, you don't have to go to the hamburger menu or, look around and scroll repeatedly or click. So the fewer clicks, the less scrolling they need to do to get to the most important information is key. But, also those images and the colors and all those other pieces do help make it memorable and attractive and inviting.
Can you tell me more about the imagery that you recommend having on a site? Like, do you recommend some cartoony kind of icons versus beautiful photography? What do you really recommend?
Well, I guess the first response to that is about partly the culture that you really embody in terms of your particular practice or your firm. So, a type of focus that you have in terms of, like, if you're, say, dealing more with kids and things like that. So that will be sort of what dictates what's important in the style. Okay. However, professionalism, of course, is always important. And sticking to, pictures that will resonate in terms of showing what the experience is going to be like when they come to see you. That's really important. People want to connect to people. So pictures of people, especially those that work there, are going to be great. Okay.
And lots of people use stock photos, and oftentimes, like when I'm searching on different dentist websites, yes, I do research you. I do see a lot of the same models showing up on different people's websites. So how do you work around that? If you're having to use stock photos, especially if you're newer in the industry, you might not have photos of your patients or your work that you can be showcasing. So how can you make the most of that?
Yeah, that's a good question because that is a challenge. Not everybody has a big photography budget. So whenever you do need to use stock photos, it's important to just really take your time and look. There are a ton out there, and try to find something that maybe is as much as unique as what it can be will be helpful, and focusing on it aligning really with, like, the style or, I guess, the culture of your practice.
So if let's say you're a high energy dentist versus someone who's like super calm and serene, how should your photos reflect that? Like, as far as colors that are used, vibrancy, whatnot.
Well, exactly. So vibrancy would be, I think, something, less muted colors, more vibrant colors, a bit more action in terms of the images, maybe lifestyle images, because again, people want to connect to people. So it's okay if it's stock and it has pictures of people living their life, because that's what we do. And we don't want to scare people because, it can be scary. So we just want to focus on, like, I guess, the human element is important.
Okay. So not ones that look like they were taken at the Sears photo studio.
Yes, exactly.
As far as the content on the website, like, I've gone through some people's websites and I could be on there for 5 hours reading through stuff. Do you recommend the heavy content? Is that going to help you when it comes to search engine optimization, or is simple better?
Yes, so both.
Okay.
So
it's not the right answer.
It's tricky. It's a delicate balance. So information is power, and people do that. You have sort of, boiled down to different types of people who will want that information. Some people who want to read a lot, and other people who just really want the most succinct version of that information with pictures so that they can choose. So really kind of providing it for both is important. So there's some unique stylistic approaches that you can take to do that, so that you're not just, loading a lot of content there just on the face, but that it's there so that the people who do really want to click and read more have the ability to do so.
Right. Now, with keywords can help you to be findable as well, especially if it's a specific keyword that you're wanting to rank for. So say you're heavy into IV sedation or Invisalign. Should that be sprinkled throughout the website and, like, attached to photos and whatnot behind the scenes, or how do you make that work for you?
Well, I think you're a little bit of a marketing expert yourself, Angela. But yes, you're absolutely right. Having those keywords throughout the site is important. So when you're building your online presence, doing a bit of research as to, combining or marrying what you do, the services you offer, with what people are actually searching for, the words that they use is really important. And then having those words throughout the website is going to definitely help your searchability.
Right. And should you be using the kind of words that we use in dentistry, or should be using more colloquial versions of that where people understand what they're searching for? Or is it good to use a combination of both?
More so the colloquial or, patient version of what they're searching for, because that's how Google will read that information and then decide that your online presence and website is where they should go to find it.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yeah. So get down to your patient's level. Don't talk over their heads, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Now, when you're competing dentist against dentist, like there's certain services that you can provide that are unique. Like maybe you do pinhole surgery or something like that. But it's hard to really set yourself apart to patients as far as your services go. So in what other way can you be setting yourself apart?
Well, that dynamic of the experience that patients will, have when they come to see you is really important. Through the testimonials that can be seen, but also even through the content and the imagery on the website and how you describe the process, sort of remove it. It not only helps to separate you or sort of set you apart from your competition, but
be a pineapple.
Yes, but it also helps you to reduce barriers because, of course, as like a patient, if you will, there's a bit of a fear or trepidation about going to see someone new, and then of course you're usually a problem at hand, so it definitely helps to ease that process.
That's great. And we actually have a deal between us for the associates in the Associate Awesomeness program. So if you're looking to get your website built, Lori and her company are doing that for us at a special price. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that project?
Sure. Yeah. So it's really great because it doesn't require a lot of time on your part. Really, we just have pretty much a straightforward form that you sort of fill out and give us some information. But what it does is provides a very attractive, easy to use, friendly online website that basically you own. So it's an asset that you'll actually have to carry with you forward. So that if you change locations or you eventually decide to start your own practice, you can actually build upon this asset, which is a really great tool.
That was the whole point of us doing that, was so that, if you do switch jobs, your patients can still find you. And if you decide that you want to build a practice and then you really do need to be found because now you've got this giant overhead that you have to deal with and make sure that you're making enough production to cover that overhead, then you already have that built and you just switch it over to your other name for the company. So it's a really great program, and we're making it really pretty, the website, so that you'll really like what you see. So what is your website, Lori?
So it's reddragonmarketing.net.
Perfect. So if you need a quick consult, Lori's willing to help you out with that as well. And if you have a website that you need to rebuild, if you're already an owner and you've got presence and you want something cool made, Lori's your girl. Thanks so much for coming out, Lori.
Thank you, Angela.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.